Happy full moon and lunar eclipse in Sagittarius. The full moon became exact at 3:12 p.m. New York time or 1912 Greenwich Mean Time on Friday, June 5th, and the Prenumbral lunar eclipse reaches apex just a few minutes after that. This is the first of a series of 3 eclipses, all in the Gemini-Sagittarius polarity. The next eclipse will be a solar, followed by another lunar. If you're living in the United States like I am, you'll probably notice that 2020 has gotten even stranger. After a white Minneapolis cop murdered an unarmed black man last week, deadly riots have erupted in cities around the country, stretching on for days with no end in sight. It's a scene not seen since the 1960s. Clearly, deep state-backed organizations such as Antifa are fueling these riots as a George Soros social engineering agenda seeks to destabilize America. This likely won't be the last mass protests or riots this summer, and don't be surprised if we start hearing calls for facial recognition cameras like in China in order to catch future looters. A trap has been set for the people of the United States, which will likely lead to further militarization of the police state. There's already National Guard troops on the ground in California, for Pete's sake, and a continued ushering in of the Orwellian 5G surveillance infrastructure. It's classic problem, reaction, solution. And most likely, President Trump will continue to be at the forefront of ushering in this enhanced technology. In the lead up to the Sagittarius lunar eclipse, we were seeing the manifestation of the current astrological energies playing out in the frustrated collective. The protests and riots have exposed a deep wound that has been created by the economic inequality in our country. Ever since the post-World War II economic boom, we have seen the systematic and intentional destruction of the middle class and the continued accelerating funneling of resources from the 99% to the 1%. The disparity has gotten worse than ever under Trump. The Wall Street bankers have utilized this pandemic to make some quick cash, while approximately 40% of poor people have lost their jobs. The game is rigged. A single $1,200 stimulus check isn't enough to stop people from going hungry. Is there any wonder why people are looting when they have the chance? The prison walls have been moving in on the proletariat for decades, and it is finally forcing a lot of misplaced anger to rise to the surface. Just as one of the necessary byproducts of the pandemic is that people have been questioning such socially engineered beliefs like vaccines are safe and effective, the riots in the U.S. are bringing awareness to the poverty, economic inequality, and racism that is systemic in our country and in most parts of the world. Saturn retrograde in Aquarius along with Pluto retrograde in Capricorn are setting the energetic stage for revolutionary tendencies. I foresee more instances around the world where people will be rising up and protesting in the streets later this year. The lunar eclipse in Sagittarius is fueling the fire of the setup from the outer planets, as we also have Uranus and Taurus breaking down the financial system, and Neptune in Pisces bringing spiritual light to darkness. The people simply want to be free. If everyone on the planet were to just stop for a few minutes and feel the spiritual power that they actually carry within, then all of this violence, injustice, disease, greed, war, rape, and pillage would stop soon after. The human race has been in a slumber for the past 13,000 years since the end of Atlantis and Lemuria. It is time for us to awaken as a collective and take our planet back. What we are seeing in this crucial year of 2020 are the growing pains of humanity entering the teenage years of its spiritual journey, so to speak. It won't be long until we are full-fledged spiritual adults and finally living on a free, safe, and abundant planet. Creating freedom in your own life. Each and every one of us are eternal creator beings playing in this third-dimensional game for fun, experience, and service. It is especially true for those of us that are starseeds that we absolutely know what we are getting ourselves into when we decided to come to Earth. We knew that we would be entering into a dense third-dimensional world fraught with perils such as war, disease, and injustice. We also knew that the time would come when we would have the opportunity to play a pivotal and divinely guided role in helping to end the strife, injustice, and destruction on the planet. So these protests are bringing to light the collective experience of anxiety and repressiveness that has plagued the human race for the past 13,000 years, and in fact for most of the history of the Homo sapien. This global event is serving as a wake-up call not just for lightworkers, but in fact for all beings to remember their light and their power as creators. This eclipse in particular is highlighting the necessity of freedom. As this eclipse happens on the south node of the moon, it offers a powerful opportunity to let go of all the aspects of the former versions of you that have been holding you back from being able to fully embody the new person that you are meant to become. As you watch what is unfolding in the outside world, ask yourself, or ideally journal on, these questions. In what ways have I been feeling stifled or stuck in life? And take into account all areas of your life, your relationships, your career, your finances, and your inner world. Even your mind. Take into account your mind. What thought patterns are stifling you? How do you feel like bars have been placed over you? How do you feel like bars have been placed over you? And the truth is that bars placed over you are pretty much always self-placed in reality. What parts of me feel old and need to just go? Have I been playing an old character? Or are parts of me playing an old character? Is there anything stopping me from letting these aspects go and stepping into a new recreation of myself? What triggers me into anger? Anger is a sign of repressed passion. What gives me a feeling of fire and passion? How can I structure my life in a practical way to allow more time to pursue my passions? What if my desired future reality was really there waiting for me already, and all I needed to do was to have a little bit more faith, confidence, courage, and passion in order to make it manifest? 4 planets plus North Node all retrograde. In addition to Saturn and Pluto retrogrades, we also have Venus and the North Node retrograde in Gemini and Jupiter retrograde in Capricorn. When retrogrades assemble en masse like this, it signals a time for unraveling anything from the past that is still yet unhealed. Woundings and triggers are going to easily come up at this time, especially in family and intimate relationships. Try to be present with your wounds and allow them to come up and be felt and shared with trusted ones. During this eclipse and retrograde season, it can be a great time to have some clearing conversations with loved ones and make a lot of karmic progress. There's also the danger, though, that wounds will come out in ugly ways around others, so do your best to be mindful. An intuitive time. The full moon in Sagittarius can be a deeply intuitive time. Our psychic and intuitive faculties are likely to be on point. If there's a quandary that's been troubling you, you may receive the answer you've been looking for. Be open to signs and subtleties from your angels and guides. One of the most common questions that people ask me is, why can't I hear my spirit guides? The truth is, your spirit guides are always communicating with you, but it might not be always in the most obvious way. If your guides really talk to you, like just in your head, like a lot of people expect, most people would just brush it off. Plus, direct communication from guides could constitute intervening in a way that isn't allowed in your life plan. So the guides know that they need to get to you in more subtle ways. They will leave little tokens or feathers for you. They will talk to you through other people. They will lead you to certain articles, websites, and YouTube videos. They will lead you to the right healers. They will give you signs through songs, numbers, and animal sightings. If you feel like you're not getting enough from your spirit guides, then ask them to communicate with you more directly. This request will direct your subconscious mind to look for signs and subtle communications rather than looking for reasons to believe that your guides have abandoned you. Faith has a big role in the energy of Sagittarius. It takes this virtue in order to have the courage to make those tough decisions and take a big leap forward in your life. And it takes faith to believe that your spirit guides are with you and communicating with you, even if you can't see them, to believe that you haven't been left behind. It takes faith for us to believe as a human collective that the ascension will be completed successfully, and this is all just part of the process. Do be advised that although you may receive intuitive info on this eclipse, you should always try to avoid making any big decisions until at least 72 hours after the eclipse has passed. During this time, you will be integrating a lot of new information and codes, and it's possible that new information or clarifications will come during that period. Wishing you a wonderful full moon and eclipse. With love, Matthew John. If you're not familiar with who I am, I'm an internationally known spiritual teacher, spiritual mentor, speaker, starseed guide, and energy healer. I offer inspirational and educational articles and videos on my website, which I'd love for you to check out. It's really easy. It's youaredivinehuman.org. youareadivinehuman.org, all spelled out, and you can check out what I offer. I'm offering my very popular spiritual mentoring packages, taking on new clients for July, and I may have a few slots left. We can start 1 or 2 people later this month, perhaps, but it'll be mostly for July, starting in July. And I'd love to just give you a real quick overview of the spiritual mentoring package. There's a 4, 5, and 6 session package, and in the 4 session package, you get an extended soul plan reading. You get an angel energy healing, aura cleansing, soul retrieval, inner child healing, and unhealthy attachments purging ceremony, a medical intuitive nutrition reading and report, a chakra scan and report, a Starseed discovery session, awakening coaching, spiritual business development coaching as time allows, intuitive and psychic development coaching as time allows, and spiritual homework between calls, as well as unlimited email support between calls, and 3 bonus webinars, putting the past in the past, mastering your intuition, and spiritual hygiene, cord cutting, and grounding 101. So if you are thinking about hiring a mentor or a coach, or you just want to improve your life and you're looking for something super affordable that is jam-packed with everything you possibly need to transform on all levels, physically, spiritually, mentally, and emotionally, please check out my spiritual mentoring program. There's also a 5 and 6 session package. The package B, which is 5 sessions, also includes a 2-hour past life regression, and the package C, which is 6 sessions, also includes that, plus a 1-hour 10-minute future life progression session, and 5 additional bonus webinars, including a deeper level of forgiveness, awakening the divine masculine, navigating the dark night of the soul, dissolving the ego, and how to move on completely from your ex. I also do offer all of these types of sessions and all the webinars sold individually. And if you're someone who has lost their job or is experiencing any sort of financial difficulties because of the pandemic or because of the riots and looting or because of anything else, I know 2020 is a tough economic year for so many people. So if you are experiencing any financial difficulties, I do offer sliding scale rates on my website, which should make my services affordable to absolutely everyone. So it's a great way to do things. You know, people who can pay full price, and those who can't, you can pay what you can afford. All right? So if you want to check out all the options for working with me, again, my website is youareadivinehuman.org. And if you have any questions for me about the packages or anything else, or even questions about this eclipse or any personal questions as well is fine, go to my website. There's a little chat tab that comes up in the bottom right corner of the screen. It's got my face on it, and it says Matthew John, have questions, ask Matthew. Just type in your question there and an email address, and I will get back to you, usually within 12 hours, sometimes within 24. But I do my best to get back as soon as possible. All right, everyone, any questions? Again, click on that chat tab on my website. It's youaredivinehuman.org. Feel free to leave a comment down below. Please like and subscribe as well if you haven't. If you just want to support me, if you like my work, the best way you can support me is by subscribing to my channel. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I look forward to speaking to you on the solar eclipse coming up in 2 weeks. Wishing you love, peace, and with gratitude, this is Matthew John.